Joseph's question to Pilate, asking now for the body of Jesus, has felt a powerful question for now. When we have come through a year of being apart from other bodies, there's something about this question that resonates, particularly when we know that Jesus is asking for the dead body of Jesus after he has died, isolated and separated. Feels like there are deep resonances taking place within our own experience over these months. One doctor, in the midst of all the deaths and losses she experienced in hospital through COVID, spoke of the experience of ambiguous loss because of the helplessness, frustration and loss of power within the family around the one who's died. And maybe this ambiguous loss lies in part behind the question of Joseph of Arimathea, not quite knowing how to handle the loss of Jesus, of the events that have taken place, unable to close out that moment of death. There remain feelings of helplessness and separation. This request for the body of Jesus is in some way a path in the physical to work towards closure, a way maybe of dealing with pain and the lostness, the ambiguity of that loss after a death marked by such pain and isolation and separation. Something in the act of asking for the body, of taking the body, of being close, even when nothing could be done. Something in all of that mattered here to Joseph and to Nicodemus, who we find in John's account as being alongside and helping Joseph. And there are the women also, the two Marys, who are close by and see what is happening and prepare also to come after the Sabbath and handle and prepare Jesus' body for burial after the rush of these last minutes. Our own experiences over these lockdowns open up this moment, I think. After Zoom and our own separations and isolation, after all the distancing and the loss of the last year, I think we too are emotionally invested in this question of Joseph asking for the body. We too are asking for the body, that material, physical presence. And yet for Joseph, the difference is that Jesus is dead. It is just the body he's asking for. And that has probably been the hardest thing in this last year for those who have experienced the death of those they love and care for while living in this isolation and separation. There have been crucifying experiences in this last year, deaths undertaken separate and alone, where we cannot touch and be with another other than across a distance. And Jesus died at a distance. There were hands that cannot be touched when they are nailed to a cross. And over our three congregations of the church here, we will all have known such loss and difficult ambiguity of death in the midst of not being able to touch, to hold, to be with. And this question of Joseph maybe reaches our lips too, asking for the body, for that physical closeness. I come here and walk here today because before the pandemic, this is where we brought the bodies of those who have died, to remember, to celebrate them, to mark their passing, to give thanks for them. We brought them to our sanctuary, to gather with them again, to gather with the families, and in being together in the same space, we find the ways to cope and take the next steps. And across this time in all of our churches, these moments have not been possible. We have found other ways to remember and mark those we love in their passing, where only a very few can be with the body. And so, in these moments, I come into this space of remembering, of celebrating. I come into this space now and I light this candle to mark our loss, our collective losses, the difficulties of such ambiguous loss, for we are still separate from the bodies of those we have loved and are no longer with us. We too know the power of that question. Give us the body, the longing in it, the helplessness and the pain of it. I liked this candle to mark that pain, that loss, that question, and the sufferings, the frustrations, the separations that lie behind it. We give space here for these ambiguous losses that we don't yet know how to handle, and where we need the closeness of the bodies of others to help. But where is the gospel in these moments? My mind goes to a moment in the garden outside the tomb that is taking place in the morning of resurrection. Mary is in tears at the loss of the body of Jesus. The tomb is empty. The body is gone. And she stands in the garden in tears. And there's one who stands alongside her and hears her, sees her. Woman, why are you crying? There is another question there. And when Mary sees that it is Jesus, she reaches out to hold him, touch him, but his word is, don't hold on to me. I am going to the Father. Go tell of the resurrection. There's something so powerful about this, that in Joseph's question, what takes place after it, there is an honouring of these difficult questions, difficult emotions that come. These feelings of ambiguous loss, where we simply ask for the body to be close after all has finished. And then in the garden, after the resurrection, hope is given. That word, do not hold on to the body. Go tell of the resurrection. I know I've brought that in 2 days early with an Easter narrative, but that is what the gospel is. A resurrection word of new beginnings. That twofoldness of the word today feels important to share with you. Both the recognition of the pain and the loss felt in Joseph's question, can we have the body? And that word of Jesus in the resurrection moment, don't hold on to me, go tell of what has happened. Feels like we need to hold both of these close to us as part of our story over this year.